Fukushima. Today's Foreign Administration of Shigeru and Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. have held talks in Manila. Shiba and Marcos agreed to strengthen bilateral security cooperation. They aim to sign a pact to provide supplies and services between Japan's self-defense forces and the Philippine military.
Now Japan and the Philippines have become partners, close to allies. I want to further strengthen communications and cooperation with the President to boost ties with this important neighbor.
Shiba and Marcos met for about 90 minutes on Tuesday to discuss situations in the East and South China Seas, where China is increasing its maritime assertiveness. The two leaders agreed to oppose attempts to change the status quo unilaterally by force or coercion. Under their agreement on security cooperation, the two sides have started talks on a pact called the Acquisition and Cross-Servicing Agreement, or ACSA. They also discussed how U.S. tariffs may impact the global economy and free trade. Shiba said he'll seek a solution to the tariffs while listening to opinions of Japanese firms in the Philippines. He also confirmed with Marcos that their countries will work together utilizing Japan's strength in various fields. He cited communications, energy, infrastructure improvement, and disaster prevention. Before meeting with Marcos, Shiba met with people of Japanese descent who were left behind in the confusion of World War II.
It's regrettable and sad that these people remain unable to secure Japanese nationality. I want to express my heartfelt respect to those who, till now, have regarded themselves as Japanese.
The Prime Minister also said the Japanese government will work to realize their citizenship and temporary return to Japan as soon as possible. Beijing has effectively affirmed Western media reports that Boeing planes delivered to Chinese airlines have been returned to the U.S. The Chinese Commerce Ministry on Tuesday criticized the tariff measures by the U.S. It said relevant Chinese airplanes and Boeing have suffered as a result. The aviation giant said Wednesday last week that a number of airline firms in China had indicated they would not take delivery of its jets due to the U.S.-China trade friction. The Chinese Commerce Ministry said Washington is using tariffs as a weapon, which has undermined the stability of global industrial and supply chains. It criticized the levies, saying they are hampering many companies from conducting normal trade and investment. The ministry said China expects the U.S. to listen to the voices of enterprises to provide a stable and predictable environment. It urged Washington to end the tariffs. Two family members of Japanese nationals abducted by North Korea have left for the United States. They are seeking support from President Donald Trump's administration for an early resolution of the issue. Yokota Takuya and Izuka Koichiro will stay in Washington until May 3rd. They plan to meet U.S. government officials and lawmakers of both chambers of Congress. Yokota Takuya is the younger brother of Yokota Megumi, who was kidnapped by North Korean agents at the age of 13. Izuka Koichiro's mother, Taguchi Yaeko, was abducted by the North when she was 1 year old.
We have been asking that all abductees be returned home while their parents are still alive. We regard this as a time limit. We will reiterate to key U.S. officials that we are running out of time.
In order to save our family members, strong support from the U.S. is essential, and we will strongly appeal for it.
In 2018, during his first term, Trump raised the issue of abduction to North Korean leader Kim Jong-un at the first ever U.S.-North Korea summit. The abductees' families are asking senior U.S. government officials to support their efforts to bring their loved ones back to Japan as early as possible. They also want Trump to emphasize the need to resolve the issue if he holds another summit meeting with Kim. The Japanese government has so far recognized 17 citizens as having been abducted by North Korea in the 1970s and 1980s. 5 returned home, but the other 12 are still unaccounted for. The mother of Yokota Megumi, 89-year-old Yokota Sakie, is now the only surviving parent of the remaining 12 victims. Turning now to Canada, where the country's ruling Liberal Party is set to win the general election that will allow its leader and Prime Minister Mark Carney to focus on tackling tariffs and other threats from the U.S. The vote took place on Monday. Canada's public broadcaster CBC reported the Liberal Party had won more than 160 out of 343 seats allocated to each electoral district. The major campaign issue was how to face up to the U.S. administration led by President Donald Trump. Relations between the two countries have deteriorated since Trump announced high tariffs and said Canada should become America's 51st state.
When I sit down with President Trump, it will be to discuss the future economic and security relationship between two sovereign nations.
Carney took office in March, replacing Justin Trudeau. Carney previously served as the governor of Canada's and England's central banks. Observers say that background helps him attract voters. Canadians also seem to support his hardline stance against the U.S., which is imposing tariff measures to hit back. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says the Trump administration might strike its first trade deal as early as this week or next week. The administration is engaged in tariff negotiations with its trading partners in a bid to reduce America's trade deficit.
Our Asian trading partners have come with very good deals. We're evaluating those, and President Trump's going to have the final say on all of them.
Bessent didn't specify which country he thinks will become the first to sign a deal with the U.S. Among those negotiating with the U.S. is Japan. The government plans to send its top negotiator, Akazawa Ryosei, for a second round of talks